lead you towards the main hallway stairways. If you are seated at the rostrum, your nearest exits are on the north and south sides, leading.
Good afternoon, mayang hapon, magandang hapon. Session is called to order. Everybody is requested, my dear colleagues, as requested to rise for the singing of the national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bakaw, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan papay magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng waro aming pagsita, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pagmay mga ating at mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
My dear colleagues, please remain standing for the invocation to be led by 2nd District of Davao de Oro, Representative Linel Jong D. Sinesa.
Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with humble hearts and grateful spirit. We thank you for the gift of life, for the blessings that surround us, and for the opportunity to gather once again in this plenary hall on the assumption of our session this 4th day of May. We lift up to you our beloved country, the Philippines, and the Filipino people we are called to serve. In these challenging times, marked by rising costs, uncertainty, and division in our public life, we ask your guidance and a steady hand upon our nation. Grant us the wisdom and discernment to navigate the challenges and complexities of our time. Help us to make decisions that are just, responsive, and anchored on the real needs of our people. Bless this assembly, and may our work be worthy of the trust given to us by the people. All this we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. The Secretary General is directed to call the roll of members.
Roll call of members. Abalos, Abante, Asidre, Acop, Acosta, Adyong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agyao, Alano, Alba, Albano, Almario Chino Miguel, Almario Dennis, Almonte, Alvarez Jose, Alvarez Mercedes, Amante, Amatong, Angara, Angeles, Aquino, Aquino Magsaysay, Arbison Munir Jr., Arenas, Arrogancia, Asisio, Atayde, Aumentado, Ayon, Bagaw, Balindong, Banyas Nograles, Bangkoro, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Baskug, Bautista Claude, Bautista Joan Monique, Bautista Lim, Beltran, Benitez Alfredo, Benitez Javier Miguel, Bernos Ching, Bernos JB, Biron, Bocobo, Bulilia, Bondok, Briones, Bulot Begtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Kawagdan, Kari, Castro, Kaiton, Celeste, Sendanya, Ceniza, Chan, John Franz Norbert Joselito Almario, Chan Junard, Chua, Chuatay, Chungalaw, Ko Pilar, Coangco Jaime Eduardo Mark, Coangco Mark, Colliantes, Corvera, Cruz Agatha, Cruz Ricardo, Cruzado, Kuwa, Dagook, Dalog, Dayanghirang, Daza, De Jesus, De Lima, De Venecia, Defensor, De Gamo, Del Mar, De Los Santos, Di Makuha, Di Magila, Di Maporo Imelda, Di Maporo City Amina, Diokno, Dionisio, Domingo, Dumogan, Duterte Harold James, Duterte Omar Vincent, Duterte Paulo, D. Faustino, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Elago, Emano, Enverga, Erice, Escudero, Espares, Espina, Estrella, Pereira Antonio, Pereira Jeffrey, Flores, Fortes, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Galang, Galeos, Garbin, Garcia Albert, Garcia Dante, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Karen Hope, Garcia Maria Angela, Guardiola, Garin, Gatchalian, Gato, Glepa, Go, Gomez, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Alisa Micaela, Gonzales Christopher Sheen, Gonzales Roy, Goriseta, Guico, Gintu, Gulyas, Gutierrez, Hernandez Cherise Ann, Hernandez Dennis, Hernandez Ferdinand, Hernandez Ramil, Hofer Hasim, Oribata, Ismula, Iway, Javier, Ko Antonio, Ko Elisa, Ko Wilton, Kong Hun, Ko, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagbas, Lagdameo Jose Manuel, Lagdameo Monique Yasmin Maria, Lagman, Lagon, Daphne, Lagon Sunny, Lara, Lazatin, Ledesma, Legacion, Legarda, Legaspi, Leviste, Libanan, Lopez, Loria, Loyola, Luistro, Lumayag, Makapagal Arroyo, Makasaet, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manguda Datu, Manikis, Maranyon, Marcoleta, Marcos, Marquez, Mastura, Matibag, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Mercado Revilla, Miraflores, Momo, Montes, Nava, Nazal, Nisay, Nolasco, Waminal Henry, Owenal Sancho Fernando, Oducado, Olivares, Ongchuan, Ordanes, Oreta, Ortega, Uwano Dizon, Padiernos, Panaligan, Pancho, Panotes, Pascual, Perez, Pimentel, Plaza, Plato, Poe, Primicias Agabas, Umaren, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Recto, Regencia, Remulla, Revilla Brian, Revilla Ramon Jolo, Ridon, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez Ilolio, Rodriguez Maximo, Rodriguez Rufus, Roman, Romualdez Andrew Julian, Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Sally, Salvacion, Salvador, Salvame, San Fernando, Santos Maria, Alana Samantha, Santos Mark Anthony, Shimura, Singson Rochelle, Singson Ronald, Singson Mihan, Solon, Soriano, Suwan, Swansing Bella Vanessa, Swansing Micaela Angela, Suarez, Suntay, Talyado, Tan Ayman, Tan Joseph, Tan Keith Mika, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tan Chay, Tan Watko, Tariela, Teodoro, Tereng, Teves, Tiangco, Tieng, Tinyo, Tolentino, Tuan, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Mike Wendell, Tupas, Chutor, T, Umali, Ungab, Uy De Carlo, Uy Roberto, Valeriano, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Veloso, Veloso Tuazon, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte Michael Luis, Miguel Luis, Villafuerte Vincenzo Renato Luigi, Villanueva, Villarica, Violago, Yamsuan, Yap Arthur, Yap Christopherson, Yap Eric, Yap Jan Gisnel, Yatko, Inares, Yu Jazel Victoria, Yu Joseph Kim, Yulo, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Isabel Maria, Zubiri. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 226 members responded to the call.
With 226 members responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session for a few minutes.
Session suspended.
Journal daw po. Yes, sir.
Let's start. Session resume. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, considering that copies of Journal number 33 dated March 16 to 18, 2026 were already distributed to the members, I move to dispense with the reading thereof and subsequently to approve the same.
Thank you. Is there no objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The reading of the said journal is dispensed with, and journal number 33, dated March 16 to 18, 2026, hereby approved. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, I move to proceed with the reference of business and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as communications committee reports.
Secretary General, please proceed. Now.
Reference of business. Bills on first reading. House Bill number 8644, an act establishing a Level 1 Department of Health to hospital in the municipality of Madrieros, Bantayan Island, province of Cebu, and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Shimura.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8645, an act creating one additional branch of regional trial court in the 2nd Judicial Region to be stationed in the municipality of Cabugao, province of Apayao, and appropriating funds therefore. Amending for the purpose Section 14B of Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Organization Act of 1980, as amended, by Representative Bullet Begtang.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 8646, an act amending Republic Act number 10149, otherwise known as the GOCC Governance Act of 2011, by Representative Matiba.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization. Please proceed.
House Bill number 8648, an act protecting Filipino consumers from arbitrary price increases of liquefied petroleum gas and promoting transparency in the Philippine downstream oil industry, amending for the purpose sections 14, 19, and 24 of Republic Act number 8479, otherwise known as the Downstream Oil Industry Deregulation Act of 1998, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8649, an act mandating full disclosure of government expenditures through an open, secure, and technology-neutral digital platform with mechanisms for real-time public access, data integrity, and accountability in the use of public funds and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Information and Communications Technology.
House Bill number 8650, an act disqualifying relatives of public officials within the 4th civil degree of consanguinity and affinity from all government contracts and providing penalties therefore, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill number 8651, an act reforming the party list system, amending Republic Act number 7941, otherwise known as the Party List System Act, and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill number 8652, an act mandating the phased reduction of tollway fees on all expressways in the Philippines, providing mechanisms for implementation, funding, and review, and for other purposes, by Representative Kong Hoon.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 8653, an act providing emergency relief to Filipino households and vulnerable sectors during extraordinary fuel price spikes and inflationary shocks, establishing mechanism for implementation, funding, and review, and for other purposes, by Representative Kong Hoon.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8654, an act providing for a comprehensive and responsive civil registration and vital statistics system, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 3753 or the Philippine Civil Registry Act of 1930 and providing funds therefore. By Representative Digamo.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill number 8655, an act strengthening the architecture profession, amending for the purpose certain provisions of Republic Act number 9266, otherwise known as the Architecture Act of 2004, by Representative Singson Richelle.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill number 8656, an act creating the Council for the Built Environment, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Singson Richelle.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill number 8657, an act further amending Presidential Decree number 449, also known as the Cockfighting Law of 1974, as amended, and Presidential Decree number 1802-A, empowering the barangay chairperson in the local government units in the regulation of cockfighting during barangay fiestas, by Representative EY.
To the Committee on Games and Amusement.
House Bill number 8658, an act upgrading the classification of Lipa District Office of the Land Transportation Office in Lipa, Batangas from Class C to Class A District Office and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Recto.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 8659, an act strengthening the decentralized governance of basic education, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 9155, otherwise known as the Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, and providing funds therefore, by Representatives Romulo and Roman.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 8660, an act prohibiting and suspending the imposition and implementation of any new national tax and any increase in any existing national tax and imposing a temporary moratorium on any new local tax and any increase in local tax rates and for other purposes, by Representative Suarez.
To the Committee of Ways and Means.
House Bill number 8661, an act promoting the adoption of digital payments for financial transactions of the government and all merchants, by Representative Lagbas.
To the Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries.
House Bill number 8662, an act mandating scholarship beneficiaries to plant a tree or any plant in their backyard or community as a form of contribution in exchange for the monetary assistance they receive and for other purposes, by Representative Yolago.
To the Special Committee on Reforestation.
House Bill number 8663, an act to establish a grant program to provide vision care to children, by Representative Yolago.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 8664, an act providing for the employment of a mental health officer in every city and municipality in the Philippines, by Representative Yolago.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8665, an act providing for the mandatory appointments of municipal and city agriculturists and veterinarian officers, amending for the purpose certain provisions of Republic Act number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, by Representative Barbers.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8666, an act providing for the Magna Carta of Barangay Health Workers, by Representative Ang.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8667, an act increasing the asset threshold of barangay micro-business enterprises, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 9178, otherwise known as the Barangay Micro-Business Enterprises Act of 2002, by Representative Barbers.
To the Committee on Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises Development.
House Bill number 8668, an act mandating the construction of the Zamboanga Peninsula Expressway with a parallel railway system and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Amatong.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 8669, an act further amending Republic Act number 7277, otherwise known as the Magna Carta for Persons with Disability, as amended, and to provide for the lifetime validity of identification cards issued to persons with permanent disability, by Representative Soriano.
To the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities.
House Bill number 8670, an act declaring a one-month tax holiday, exempting compensation income from income tax and for other purposes, by Representative Soriano.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 8671, an act establishing safeguards for the use of social media by minors, promoting a safe and age-appropriate digital environment, and protecting minors from digital addiction and for other purposes. By Representative Soriano.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 8672, an act mandating law enforcement officers to use a body-worn camera during law enforcement operations, providing penalties for violations and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Soriano and Tulfo Jocelyn.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 8673, an act providing hazard pay for civilian government personnel assigned or deployed in the West Philippine Sea, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. By Representatives Sendanya, Diokno, Ismula, and Bagao.
To the Special Committee on West Philippine Sea.
House Bill number 8674, an act providing a comprehensive charter for barangays and barangay officials and workers, defining their rights, benefits, and financial entitlements and providing funds therefore. By Representative Emano.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8675, an act strengthening and revitalizing the Philippine banana industry and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Emano.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 8676, an act promoting enterprises and employment in the silver economy, creating incentives for age-inclusive companies and for other purposes. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs and Committee on Senior Citizens.
House Bill number 8677, an act establishing inclusive technical, vocational education and training programs for learners with disabilities and for other purposes. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 8678, an act establishing a national program for women's health access, strengthening preventive and primary healthcare services for women, and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8679, an act strengthening community-based fire prevention and response mechanisms through the establishment of barangay fire brigades, fire safety training, and community fire resilience programs in all barangays and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 8680, an act strengthening consumer protection in cases of service interruptions and deficient performance by regulated consumer services. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 8681, an act amending Republic Act number 9266, otherwise known as the Architecture Act of 2004, and for other purposes. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill number 8682, an act providing for the conversion of F. Dolalia Street, Linguanan, in the city of Valenzuela, Metro Manila, into a national road and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 8683, an act providing for the conversion of Sapang Bacau Street, Lawang Bato in the city of Valenzuela, Metro Manila, into a national road and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 8684, an act providing for the conversion of C.J. Santos Malinta in the city of Valenzuela, Metro Manila, into a national road and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 8685, an act providing for the revised Cooperative Code of the Philippines. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Cooperatives Development.
House Bill number 8686, an act abolishing the Optical Media Board created under Republic Act number 9239, transferring its powers and functions to the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines and for other purposes. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Information and Committee on Government Reorganization.
House Bill number 8687, an act providing local chief executives joint authority with the Bureau of Fire Protection in the appointment of fire marshals and discipline of personnel in their respective jurisdictions, amending for the purpose pertinent provisions of Republic Act number 6975 as amended, otherwise known as the Department of the Interior and Local Government Act of 1990. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 8688, an act mandating the formulation and institutionalization of a comprehensive infrastructure development master plan, establishing the Master Plan for Infrastructure and National Development Council and appropriating funds therefore. By Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 8689, an act mandating the proper management, bundling, and removal of dangling and non-operational overhead utility wires and cables, and prescribing penalties therefore, by Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 8690, an act defining defensive driving and providing for the protection of motor vehicle drivers involved in a road accident with sufficient proof of their defensive driving, by Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 8691, an act strengthening the people's right to information, by Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill number 8692, an act to establish the Magna Carta for Barangays, by Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8693, an act providing for protection of the remittances of overseas Filipino workers, by Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs.
House Bill number 8694, an act granting menstrual leave to female employees, providing benefits therefore and other purposes, by Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Labor, Employment, and Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulations.
House Bill number 8695, an act prohibiting the use of mobile devices and other electronic gadgets during class hours from kindergarten to senior high school in all public and private education institutions, by Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 8696, an act declaring July 16 of every year a special non-working holiday in the municipality of Alabat, province of Quezon, in celebration of its annual town fiesta, by Representative Tan Keith Maika.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8697, an act increasing the service incentive leave of employees, amending for the purpose of Article 95 of Presidential Decree number 442, as amended, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines, by Representative Tan Keith Maika.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 8698, an act converting the satellite office of the Maritime Industry Authority located in the municipality of Guian, province of Eastern Samar, into a regular extension office and appropriating funds therefore, by Representatives Gonzales, Christopher Sheen, and Libanan.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 8701, an act mandating higher education institutions to digitalize processing systems of academic records and to provide copies thereof free of charge to fresh graduates who are applying for employment, by Representative Marcos.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 8703, an act providing for the Magna Carta of Barangay Health Workers, by Representative Ako.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8704, an act regulating the access of minors to social media platforms, requiring the age verification and parental consent mechanisms, providing safeguards for children online and for other purposes, by Representative Emano.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 8705, an act strengthening Article 148 of Executive Order number 209, otherwise known as the Family Code of the Philippines, by clarifying the rules on co-ownership, defining contribution, providing evidentiary guidelines, and for other purposes, by Representative Emano.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill number 8706, an act prohibiting the collection of reconnection fees for disconnected accounts of public utility services, including electricity, water, telecommunications, and internet services, and providing penalties for violations thereof, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdez Andrew Julian, and Asidre.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 8707, an act establishing the Philippine Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Framework, mandating cybersecurity standards for vital industries, providing cyber defense grants for small and medium enterprises, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representatives Tulfo Jocelyn and Tulfo Ralph Wendell.
To the Committee on Information and Communications Technology.
House Bill number 8708, an act further amending Batas Pambansa Bilang 22, otherwise known as the Bouncing Checks Law, to strengthen the proof of notice of dishonor, simplify its service, and for other purposes, by Representatives Tulfo Jocelyn and Tulfo Ralph Wendell.
Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries.
House Bill number 8709, an act enhancing the prosecution of online investment fraud and voice phishing, defining prima facie evidence for digital fraud, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 10175 and for other purposes, by Representatives Tulfo Jocelyn and Tulfo Ralph Wendell.
To the Committee on Information, Communications, Technology.
House Bill number 8710, an act strengthening the implementation of Animal Welfare Act through the establishment of public veterinary clinics in every city and municipality and the development of animal shelter facilities and services at the local level and for other purposes, by Representative Lazatin.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 8711, an act mandating the use of solar energy in all government infrastructure buildings and offices in the Philippines and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Chua.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8712, an act granting the Bohol 2 Electric Cooperative, Inc. a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, own, manage, and maintain distribution systems for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in the municipality of Valencia, Garcia Hernandez, Yagna, Duero, Guindiluman, Anda, Candiday, Mabini, Alicia, Ubay, President Carlos P. Garcia, Pilar, Sierra Bullones, San Miguel, Dagohoy, Danao, Trinidad, Bienunido, Talibon, Getafe, and Buenavista, all in the province of Bohol, by Representatives Dagook and De Jesus.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises. Majority Leader. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend the reference of business.
Session suspended.
Okay na, okay na.
Sessions resumed. Majority Floor Leader.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker of the House, Faustino Bojidi, will now address the body.
Magandang araw sa inyong lahat, sa aking kapwang mambabatas at higit sa lahat, sa sambayan ng Pilipino na ating pong pinaglilingkuran. Sa araw na ito, hindi lamang natin muling binubuksan ang sesyon ng Kongreso. Sinasalubong natin ang panibagong yugto ng ating sama-samang paglalakbay bilang isang bansa. Hindi ito simpleng pagpapatuloy ng ating tungkulin. Ito ay pagpapatibay ng ating tunay na layunin at paninindigan. Dito sa ating institusyon, nagsumikap po tayong ipagpatuloy ang ating gawain. Our committees continued to function with focus and discipline, ensuring the governance remains steady, responsive, and accountable. Bago pa man mag-session break, mayroon na tayong 62 House bills na naisalang sa ikalawang pagbasa na direktang tumutugon sa pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan. Kabila dito ang ilan sa mga mahalagang panukala na magpapabuti sa ating bayan. Ngayong linggong ito, tatalakayin natin ang National Land Use Act upang magkaroon tayo ng malinaw at pangmatagalang plano sa pagkamit ng ating lupa at likas yaman. Panahon na rin na upang pagtibayin natin ang panukalang batas para sa 4Ps upang matiyak ang tulong sa ating mga pinakamahihirap na kababayan ay mananatiling maayos at sapat at napapanahon. Para tugunan ang krisis sa dulot ng tensyon ng Middle East, agad nating binuo ang LEAD o Legislative Energy Action and Development Joint Committee na hindi lamang isang istruktura ng koordinasyon, kundi isang mas sistematiko at mas epektibong mga hakbang para makapagpasa ng mga batas na sasagot sa ating mga pinagdadaraanan. Alam naman natin na kapag tumaas ang langis, tumataas ang pamasahe, tumataas ang gastos ng mga manggagawa, tumataas ang presyo ng pagkain at ang unang tinatamaan ay ang pamilyang Pilipino. Sa ilalim ng LEAD, pinag-isa natin ang mga pangunahing sektor: enerhiya, agrikultura, pagkain, transportasyon, paggawa, ekonomiya, ICT, at kalakalan. Hindi ito magkakahiwalay na hakbang. Ito ang pagsulong ng isang matibay na plano, isang malinaw na direksyon upang may sakatuparan natin ang layunin natin para sa isang ekonomiyang gumagana at nagbibigay ginhawa sa araw-araw ng buhay ng Pilipino. Ito ang serbisyong kailangan natin ngayon, hindi panandalian, kundi pangmatagalan. Bukod sa LEAD Joint Committee, nanatili pong aktibo ang iba pang mga committee, tulad ng Committee on Justice na tumutok sa impeachment hearings. We also strengthened our role in the region through our active participation in IPA engagement, demonstrating that the Philippines remains both responsive at home and relevant abroad. To our colleagues who step forward to take the lead in these key House activities, Deputy Speaker Rachel Arenas, House Justice Committee Chairperson Jean K. Loristro, and House Ways and Means Chairperson Miro Kimbo, kasama ang mga chairperson ng 13 committees na bumubuo ng LEAD Joint Committee. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you for your leadership, your diligence, your steadfast commitment to duty. Ito po ang diwa ng ating paglilingkod. Handa sa anumang hamon at laging nakatuon sa kapakanan ng bayan. Kaya para sa mga nagtatanim ng pagdududa sa isip ng taong bayan, nakikiusap po kami na itigil nyo na ang pagpakakalat ng fake news dahil hindi ito nakakatulong sa pagresolba sa mga problema ng ating bayan. Gusto ko rin pong idiin na wala po kaming ibang hangarin kundi makapaglingkod at gawin ang aming mga responsibilidad dito sa Kamara. Gagawin namin ang aming mandato at tungkulin ng makatarungan na tapat sapagkat naniniwala kaming walang anumang katumbas ang prinsipyo at dangal. Sa bawat desisyon, iisa lang ang aming gabay, ang aming pananagutan sa inyo at sa buong bayan. Our oath to uphold the welfare of our people and to ensure transparency and accountability in government. We resume our session as we called not only to act, but to act with purpose, discipline, and resolve. Kaya't kasama natin si Majority Floor Leader Sandro Marcos na isinusulong natin ang Kalinga Act of 2026, ang komprehensibong alalay sa livelihood, inflation, negosyo at good assistance bilang bahagi ng mas malawak na hangarin na palakasin ang kakayahan ng bawat Pilipino. Patatatagay natin ang ating ekonomiya at gawing mas maasaang support system ng gobyerno. Kasabay nito, patuloy nating patitibayin ang ating mga hakbang tungo sa energy security sapagkat ang isang bansa ay kailangan na may klarong plano at matibay na pundasyon. At mga kasama, kung tunay nating nais palakasin ang tiwala ng taong bayan sa ating institusyon, ipasa natin ang anti-political dynasty. Tututukan natin ang mga ito dahil narito tayo hindi lamang upang pangalagaan ang kasalukuyan. Narito po tayo upang maging handa para sa kinabukasan. Let us continue to work with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and move forward with a whole-of-government approach, coordinated, decisive, and anchored on long-term national interests. Sama-sama po nating itaguyod ang isang bagong Pilipinas. Tumindig tayo para sambayan ng Pilipino. Kumilos tayo ng may tapang, may bilis, at may maliwanag na hangarin. Inuulit ko po, walang katumbas ang ating prinsipyo at dangal. Lalo na pag ang usapin ay pananagutan. When it comes to fulfilling our mandate and our duty to uphold the interests of our people, we will not compromise and we will not waver. So let us move forward with conviction, unity, and purpose. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang kapulungan ng kinatawan. Mabuhay ang sambayan ng Pilipino. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session for a few minutes.
Session suspended.
Session will now resume. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, before we proceed, may we request to acknowledge the guests from the 36 officials and members of Zone 1 TODA from Subic, Zambales, the guest of our Honorable Deputy Speaker from the 1st District of Zambales, Representative Deputy Speaker Jefferson F. Congon. They are the following: their President, Fernando Batingan, Vice President Rolando Morales, the Secretary, Cecilia Rocio, Treasurer Camila Apostol, Auditor Roberto Bagares, PRO Jimmy Paule, Board of Trustees members Eduardo Estrada, Ronaldo Daco, Miguel Beltran, Federico Lacap, Renato Faundo, Armando de Guzman, Gian Favor, Rene Cultura, Muammar Jalaluddin, Ryan Christian Farce, Juanilio Dioyan, Raymond Rovero, Jefferson Togadi, Ryan de la Cruz, Renato Baliwag, Alfredo Arcangel Jr., Renato Labio, Arnold Reyes, Rafael Pichay, Eduardo Pichay Jr., Edwin Huico, Robert Guevara, Martha Labe, Dario Mingito, Jose Jeronimo Jr., Eduardo Villanueva, Romeo Diaño, Frankie Beltran, Joel Calimbas, and Ronnie Salboza.
To my guest from the Zone 1 TODA, Subic, Zambales, welcome to the House of the People. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we also wish to recognize the guests of the representative from the 3rd District of Cotabato, Honorable Maria Alana Samantha T. Santos. They are from the Department of Education, Region 12, SDS Romelito G. Flores, Norman S. Valeroso, and Karen May Barato.
To the guest of Honorable Maria Alana Samantha Santos from the Department of Education, welcome to the House of the People. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we would like to recognize the guests of Gabriela Women's Party List, Representative Sarah Jane Ilago, divorce advocates from the Divorce for the Philippines Now International, Ms. Cecil Hueco, Danilo Parino, Micael Gamboa, Analiza David, Sara Abelia, Presca Antonio, Robelen Songco, Emily Dilag, Teresita Sierra, Evelyn Costales, Rowena Tacorda, Winston Ibanez, Mary Rose Rosas, Gwen Montaño, Nia Gilogo, Julian Stefani Malong, Andrea Kristen Azarcon, Carl Joseph Alcones, Alfonso Tuliao, Marife Lagrosa, Juvi Giltendes, Ruth San Pedro, Franz Robert Aquino, Joanna Rulian, John Michael Layson, Rick Gabriel Calaguas, Imelda Di Macali, Angeline Vinarao, Yiha Adike, John Mark Tolentino, Ruth Nicolas, Melanie Barameda, Shaina Derecho, Jerry Chris Mayuga, Wendy May Balangay, Jasmine Elcanto, Cedric Bulfa, Amalin Gayon, Jerome Ontal, Dustin James Cristobal, Justine Dianon, Dohira Cafe, Cyrene Sausa, Emmanuel Ison, Akia Nicole Sanan, and Angeline Vinarao.
To the guest of the Honorable Sarah Jane Ilago of Gabriela Women's Party List, from the Advocates of Divorce for the Philippine Now International, welcome to the House of the People. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we'd like to acknowledge the guests of Honorable Edwin L. Cruzado representative of the 1st District of Cotabato. They are the delegates and organizers of the Youth Policy Builders Lab, namely Attorney Earl Gwen Padayaw, Isley Nicole Ricato D, Patrick Emmanuel Malig, Gabriel Victor Martinez, RJ Emmanuel Hardinian, and Shane Rivera.
To the guests of Honorable Edwin L. Cruzado of the representative 1st District of Cotabato, welcome to the House of the People. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we resume the reference of business.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion approved.
Reference of business, House Bill number 8713, an act requiring the recognition of healthcare proxies by all health service providers and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Dimaporo City Amina.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8714, an act institutionalizing a targeted fuel subsidy program for public transport workers, farmers, municipal fisherfolk, and other vulnerable sectors during periods of abnormal fuel price increases, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Christopherson.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8715, an act providing immediate economic relief measures in response to fuel price hikes, by Representative Tiangco.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8716, an act strengthening legal protections against rape and other forms of sexual abuse and exploitation, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 11648, Republic Act number 8353, otherwise known as the Anti-Rape Law of 1997, and Act number 3815 as amended, otherwise known as the Revised Penal Code, by Representative De Lima.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws and the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 8717, an act imposing stiffer penalties and strengthening protections against gender-based sexual harassment, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 11313, otherwise known as the Safe Spaces Act, by Representative De Lima.
To the Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 8718, an act upholding and promoting campus journalism and campus press freedom, repealing for the purpose Republic Act number 7079, entitled an act providing for the development and promotion of campus journalism and for other purposes, penalizing violations against campus press freedom and for other purposes, by Representative De Lima.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 8719, an act establishing a 10-kilometer municipal fishing buffer zone beyond municipal waters, protecting municipal fishing and artisanal fisherfolks, amending for the purpose sections 4 and 18 of Republic Act number 8550, otherwise known as the Philippine Fisheries Code of 1998, as amended and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill number 8720, an act strengthening coconut farmers' participation in the utilization of the Coconut Farmers and Industry Trust Fund, amending for the purpose certain provisions of Republic Act number 11524, otherwise known as the Coconut Farmers and Industry Trust Fund Act, and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 8721, an act mandating the establishment of fisherfolk resettlement areas by the Department of Agriculture, Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and local government units, amending for the purpose Section 108 of Republic Act number 8550, otherwise known as the Philippine Fisheries Code of 1998, as amended, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill number 8725, an act providing for the conversion of JCT Loay Interior Road, Poblacion, Dagohoy, La Esperanza, Taming, Danao Road, located in the province of Bohol, into a national road and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Aumentado.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 8726, an act mandating the installation and utilization of solar energy systems in all government buildings and offices, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Aumentado.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8727, an act establishing comprehensive therapy and support centers for children with special needs, including attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and autism spectrum disorder in every province and highly urbanized city nationwide, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Aumentado.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8728, an act amending Republic Act number 7942, otherwise known as the Philippine Mining Act of 1995 and other pertinent laws, to enhance the share of provincial government units in the income derived from large-scale quarrying operations, by Representative Aumentado.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 8729, an act establishing a Magna Carta for foresters and forest rangers, providing for salary standardization, benefits, hazard pay, and career development, and for other purposes, by Representative Aumentado.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 8730, an act granting the Capiz Electric Cooperative, Inc. a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, own, manage, and maintain distribution systems for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in the city of Rojas and municipalities of Cuartero, Dao, Dumarao, Dumalag, Ivisan, Hamindan, Maayon, Mambusao, Panay, Panitan, Pilar, Pontevedra, President Rojas, Sapian, Sigma, and Tapaz, all in the province of Capiz, by Representative Beltran.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill number 8731, an act reclassifying certain parcels of land of the public domain located in General Santos City as alienable and disposable lands, by Representative Banyas Nograles.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 8732, an act mandating the stockpiling and accessibility of anti-venom in all regional hospitals and medical centers, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Banyas Nograles.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8733, an act imposing an excise tax on single-use plastic bags, amending for the purpose Section 288 and adding a new Section 150-C in the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, and for other purposes, by Representative Banyas Nograles.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 8734, an act providing for the fair and accountable use of social media, artificial intelligence, and internet technology for the holding of free, orderly, honest, peaceful, and credible elections, providing penalties for violations thereof and for other purposes, by Representative Banyas Nograles.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill number 8735, an act amending Republic Act number 6770, otherwise known as the Ombudsman Act of 1989, to strengthen the Office of the Ombudsman by enhancing its investigatory powers, defining inordinate delay, increasing its budget allocation, enhancing human resources, and improving the recruitment and training of personnel, and for other purposes, by Representative Banyas Nograles.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 8736, an act further amending Section 450 of Republic Act number 7160 as amended by Republic Act of 9009 to include income from plantation-based industries and large-scale agriculture in the computation of municipal powers and functions, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8738, an act integrating voter education in the junior and senior high school curricula, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 8739, an act strengthening the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, repealing for the purpose Presidential Decree number 1467 as amended, entitled Creating the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, prescribing its powers and activities, providing for its capitalization and for the required government premium subsidy, and for other purposes, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill number 8740, an act declaring Mindanao as the food basket of the Philippines, providing for its sustainable agricultural development and for other purposes, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 8741, an act increasing the service incentive leave of employees, amending for the purpose Article 95 of Presidential Decree number 442 as amended, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 8742, an act instituting a National Dam Safety Program, establishing the National Dam Safety Authority, penalizing violations therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 8743, an act establishing the Philippine National Public Park System and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Tourism and the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 8744, an act implementing the people's right to information and the constitutional policies of full public disclosure and honesty in the public service and for other purposes by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill number 8745, an act ordaining the promotion of social enterprises to alleviate poverty, establishing for the purpose the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship program, and providing support, benefits, and appropriations therefore, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development.
House Bill number 8746, an act providing for a rural employment assistance program and appropriation funds therefore, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8747, an act establishing a ban on the importation of solid waste, providing penalties and for other purposes, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Ecology.
House Bill 8748, an act providing for a Magna Carta for dignified commuting, creating the National Office of Commuter Affairs, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 8749, an act providing for the Magna Carta of Young Farmers, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 8750, an act establishing job placement offices in public high schools to provide career services to the youth, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8751, an act granting benefits and incentives to overseas Filipino workers investing in business in the Philippines, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs.
House Bill 8752, an act defining and penalizing road rage, providing administrative sanctions and for other purposes, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 8753, an act strengthening national defense against espionage, cyber espionage, and unauthorized foreign intelligence activities, protecting classified government information and critical information infrastructure, establishing a national framework for counter-espionage and cyber intelligence defense, prescribing penalties for violations and for other purposes, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws and the Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Bill 8754, an act mandating the formulation and institutionalization of a comprehensive infrastructure development master plan, establishing the Master Plan for Infrastructure and National Development Council and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill 8755, an act strengthening the regulation of online transactions involving health products, expanding the powers of the Food and Drug Administration under Republic Act No. 9711 and enhancing Republic Act No. 11967, imposing liability on digital platforms and for other purposes, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8756, establishing safeguard for the use of social media by minors, promoting a safe and age-appropriate digital environment and protecting minors from digital addiction and for other purposes, by Representatives Galang San Fernando Hernandez Chariz Ann, Lacson, Odocado, and Daza.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill 8757, an act separating the Oslob National High School located in Barangay Lagunde, Municipality of Oslob, Province of Cebu, from its mother unit, the Santander National High School, converting it into an independent national high school and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Galeos.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 8758, establishing a mechanism for the temporary suspension of toll fees during periods of high global oil prices and for other purposes, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 8759, strengthening and expanding the professional rights and work incentives of public school teachers, amending Republic Act No. 4670 to be known as the Expanded Magna Carta for Public School Teachers, by Representative Lacson.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8760, an act providing a fuel subsidy for municipal fisherfolk, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Gintu.
To the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill 8761, an act establishing a National Science High School in Barangay Santa Isabel, Municipality of Dinalupihan, Province of Bataan, to be known as the Bataan National Science High School, Dinalupihan, and appropriating funds thereof, by Representative Garcia Maria Angela.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8762, an act prohibiting the manufacture, importation, distribution, sale, advertisement, and use of electronic nicotine and non-nicotine delivery systems, including electronic cigarettes, vapes, and heated tobacco products, imposing liability on online platforms, strengthening border control measures, establishing strict liability in protected places, and providing penalties therefore, by Representative Garcia Maria Angela.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry and the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8763, an act strengthening the high-value crops development program by institutionalizing strategic and targeted agro-industrialization, promoting sustainable agroforestry and efficient utilization of marginal lands, building a robust bioeconomy and agricultural innovation system, creating for the purpose the Office of the Undersecretary for Agro-Industrialization, Bioeconomy and Innovation under the Department of Agriculture, amending for the purpose RA number 7900 and appropriating funds therefore, by Representatives Alba and Veloso Tuazon.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 8764, an act segregating Lot 3 and Lot 4 of Barangay Kias, Baguio City from military reservation under Proclamation number 2405, converting them into alienable and disposable public land and declaring the same open for the disposition to bona fide qualified applicants and/or applicants under Republic Act number 730 or Republic Act number 10023 by Representative Domogan.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 8765, an act amending Republic Act number 7581, otherwise known as the Price Act, as amended by Republic Act number 10623 to include gasoline and diesel as prime commodities and for other purposes by Representatives Tino, Elago, and Co.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill 8766, an act regulating the downstream petroleum industry, repealing Republic Act number 8479, otherwise known as the Downstream Oil Industry Deregulation Act of 1998, and for other related purposes by Representatives Tino, Elago, and Co.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill 8767, an act mandating employers to provide a personal finance education program, amending for the purpose Presidential Decree number 442 as amended, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines by Representative Acop.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 8768, an act providing sick leave and vacation leave benefits to all employees, amending for the purpose Article 95 of Presidential Decree number 442 as amended, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines by Representative Acop.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8769, an act instituting a national minimum wage system, amending for the purpose Presidential Decree number 442, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines as amended by Representative Acop.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8770, an act establishing the National Strategic Fuel Reserve and the Targeted Fuel Relief Program and providing funds therefore by Representative Suntay.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill 8771, an act amending certain provisions of Republic Act number 9482, otherwise known as the Anti-Rabies Act of 2007, to strengthen rabies prevention, promote responsible pet ownership, and prescribe penalties for non-compliance by Representative Chuatay.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8772, an act establishing a mechanism for the institutionalization of the construction of disaster-resilient evacuation centers in every city nationwide and defining the most disaster-prone areas of the country, providing funds therefore and for other purposes by Representative Chuatay.
To the Committee on Disaster Resilience.
House Bill 8773, an act establishing mechanisms to combat malicious, deepfake, and manipulated digital media, empowering deputies of the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board to assist in the identification, investigation, and reporting of such content, providing content takedown mechanisms, defining prohibited acts, prescribing penalties, and for other purposes by Representative Chuatay.
To the Committee on Information and Communications Technology.
House Bill 8774, an act prohibiting open vehicle windows on expressways and superhighways, prescribing penalties therefore and for other purposes by Representative Chuatay.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 8775, an act mandating all national government agencies of the Republic of the Philippines to allocate at least 1% of their land area, compounds, or unused office rooms or floors for the establishment of staff houses in all their offices nationwide, providing for their management, utilization, and development, with the support of public-private partnerships facilitated by the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development and for other purposes by Representative Chuatay.
To the Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Bill 8776, an act providing for an in-school housing shelter program for public school teachers, establishing its mechanisms, appropriating funds for and for other purposes by Representative Chuatay.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8777, an act including the incumbent national and local officers of fraternities, sororities, and other organizations as persons liable for violations of the Anti-Hazing Act of 2018, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 11053, otherwise known as the Anti-Hazing Act of 2018 by Representative Deves.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill 8778, an act strengthening the information dissemination and education campaign about Republic Act number 11053, also known as the Anti-Hazing Act of 2018 by Representative Deves.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture and the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 8779, an act mandating the establishment of animal shelters in every city and municipality and amending for the purpose Republic Act number 8485, otherwise known as the Animal Welfare Act of 1998 by Representative Lacson.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 8780, an act mandating the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council to promulgate guidelines for the rescue of livestock and working animals in cases of calamity by Representative Lacson.
To the Committee on Disaster Resilience.
House Bill 8781, an act imposing civil penalties on unreasonable price increases for crude oil, fuel oil, and refined petroleum products by Representative Lacson.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill 8782, an act establishing a framework for critical party funding, political party development, and transparency in party financing for other purposes by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill 8783, an act establishing public basic education schools in geographically isolated, disadvantaged, and conflict-affected areas, providing access roads leading to last-mile schools, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8784, an act creating the Health Emergency Auxiliary Reinforcement Team under the Department of Health, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8785, an act providing protection incentives to freelance workers, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8786, an act establishing green lanes for strategic investments, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill 8787, an act strengthening the regulatory powers of the National Food Authority to support the rice industry and ensure consumer protection through adequate supply and a stable price of rice, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 8178, otherwise known as the Agricultural Tarification Act, as amended, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 8788, an act strengthening Philippine disaster risk financing, institutionalizing a Philippine disaster risk financing and insurance strategy for public infrastructure assets, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Disaster Resilience.
House Bill 8789, an act strengthening the regulation of campaign finance, updating campaign expenditure limits, enhancing disclosure requirements, and for other purposes, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill 8790, to ensure that the party list system is reserved for the marginalized and underrepresented, amending Republic Act Number 7941 or the Party List System Act, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill Number 8791, an act providing comprehensive support and benefits for children with critical illnesses and for other purposes, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8792, an act amending the Omnibus Election Code by inserting a new section after Article 9, Section 68 to clarify the status of natural-born Filipino citizens with dual citizenship and for other purposes, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill 8793, an act providing priority employment opportunities for barangay officials who have completed their terms of office in local government units and national government agencies subject to civil service eligibility and for other purposes, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill 8794, an act mandating the adoption of a digital by default rule in the delivery of government services, providing penalties for non-compliance and for other purposes, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Information and Communications Technology.
House Bill 8795, an act establishing a universal financial account system for all Filipinos, creating the Universal Financial Account Authority and providing funds and mechanisms for implementation, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries.
House Bill 8796, an act establishing an efficient small claim system through digitalization and AI-assisted case management, creating the enabling framework and for other purposes, by Representative Adocado.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill 8797, an act abolishing the Optical Media Board, repeating for the purpose Republic Act Number 9239, otherwise known as the Optical Media Act of 2003, and transferring its powers and functions to the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines and for other purposes, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Public Information and the Committee on Government Reorganization.
House Bill 8798, an act creating the Bureau of Agriculture Cooperative under the Department of Agriculture, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 8799, an act providing for a health maintenance organization for public school teachers and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill Number 8800, an act standardizing the retirement benefits of justices, judges, and judiciary officials conferred with judicial rank, salary, and privileges, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 910 as amended and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Yap
To the
Eric.
Committee on Justice.
House Bill Number 8801, an act providing for additional maternity leave to women with postpartum depression, expanding for this purpose the coverage of Republic Act Number 11210, otherwise known as the 105-day expanded maternity leave law, and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation, the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8802, an act providing free medical and dental services to indigent children and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8803, an act providing for the monthly subsidy of parents of children with disability and providing funds therefore, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities.
House Bill 8804, an act mandating an accident and life insurance coverage for construction workers, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8805, an act establishing a National Cancer Center to be known as the National Cancer Center of the Philippines and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8806, an act providing monthly maintenance medication support for senior citizens and providing penalties therefore, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Senior Citizens.
House Bill 8807, an act strengthening startup development and enhancing fiscal incentives for private sector participation, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 11337, otherwise known as the Innovative Startup Act, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill 8808, an act strengthening the national preparedness and response to the public health emergencies, establishing a medical reserve corps under the Department of Health, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8809, an act increasing the penalties for the refusal of hospitals and medical clinics to administer appropriate initial medical treatment and support in emergency or serious cases, amending for the purpose Batas Pamansa Bilang 702, otherwise known as the Anti-Hospital Deposit Law, as amended and for other purposes, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8810, an act mandating all correctional, custodial, and detention facilities to implement a contraband detection and control system and providing penalties for possessing, introducing, or aiding and abetting the entry of contraband inside such facilities, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill 8811, an act strengthening the implementation of Republic Act 7600 as amended by Republic Act Number 10028 by requiring the establishment of lactation stations in rural health units and barangay health station centers and providing for DOH standard human milk banks and for other purposes, by Representative Lazatin.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8812, an act strengthening energy supply stability, ensuring system resilience, and institutionalizing a rules-based national energy emergency framework pursuant to Executive Order Number 110, Series of 2026, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill 8813, an act allowing accessory dwelling units and microhomes and residential lots nationwide, simplifying permits, providing incentives to homeowners and builders, promoting modular housing technologies, and accelerating affordable housing supply and appropriating funds therefore, by Representatives Villaferte Vincenzo Renato Luigi, Villaferte Miguel Luis, Horibata, and Redon.
To the Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Bill 8814, an act establishing a comprehensive framework for the development, promotion, and protection of the Philippine ube industry, declaring ube as a national priority crop, creating the Philippine Ube Industry Council, providing for quality standards and geographic indication for protection, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. By Representatives Villaferte Vincenzo Renato Luigi,
To the
Villaferte
Committee on
Miguel Luis, Horibata,
Agriculture
Redon.
and Food.
House Bill 8815, an act institutionalizing a national economic resilience framework, creating the National Economic Resilience Council and the Bayanihan Economic Stabilization Fund, and providing mechanisms for national emergency response and protection for other purposes, by Representative Benitez Javier
To the
Miguel.
Committee on Economic Affairs.
House Bill 8816, an act granting a temporary 30-day grace period for the payment of residential electric bills of lifeline consumers, low-income households, and micro, small, and medium enterprises during a declared national energy emergency, prohibiting disconnection during the grace period, prohibiting the imposition of interest, penalties, and other charges thereon and for other purposes, by Representative Degamo.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill 8817, an act penalizing the malicious and deliberate dissemination of false information that undermines public order and national security, strengthening regulations on fake news through digital platforms and for other purposes, by Representative Ataide.
To the Committee on Public Information and the Committee on Information and Communications Technology.
House Bill 8818, an act providing targeted subsidies for fuel, electricity, and food security to vulnerable sectors during a declared state of energy emergency or similar crisis and for other purposes, by Representative Hernandez Chariz Ann.
To the Committee on Social Services.
House Bill 8819, an act further strengthening the government service insurance system, by Representatives Tino Elago and Co.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill 8820, an act mandating a maximum of 4 teaching loads for public school teachers, by Representatives Tino Elago and Co.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8821, an act institutionalizing automatic socio-economic relief, market stabilization, logistics continuity, labor protection, and energy contingency measures during a declared national energy emergency, including fuel supply disruption, loss, insufficiency, or severe disruption of electrical power, providing for mandatory grace periods for certain loans, rents, and utilities, a temporary moratorium on certain foreclosure, repossession, and similar adverse actions, emergency assistance to affected households and displaced workers, targeted support for transport, agriculture, fisheries, MSMEs, mining and construction enterprises, establishing an energy emergency relief fund for other purposes, by Representative Nazal.
To the Committee on Social Services.
House Bill 8822, an act declaring the existence of a national energy emergency arising from the global crisis and from a national policy in connection therewith, and authorizing the President of the Republic of the Philippines for a limited period and subject to restrictions to exercise powers necessary and proper to carry out the declared national policy and for other purposes, by Representative Mercado Revilla.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill 8823, an act institutionalizing the Filipino Values Initiative, establishing the Institute of Filipino Values and Ethicology within the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, and promoting the integration of Filipino values across society and for other purposes, by Representatives Mercado Revilla, Revilla Brian, and Revilla Ramonjo. Republic Act Number 8479, otherwise known as the Downstream Oil Industry Deregulation Act of 1998, ensuring competition in the industry, strengthening consumer protection and government enforcement, authorizing temporary tax relief on fuel products, and establishing an emergency oil price stabilization fund and for other purposes, by Representative De Lima.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill 8825, an act reforming the value-added tax by expanding exemptions for basic goods and services and imposing appropriate taxation on luxury and non-essential items, amending for the purpose sections 106, 107, 108, 113, 114, and 115 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1987 as amended by Representative Angeles.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill 8826, an act establishing the AHON or Agapay sa Hanapbuhay at Operasyon ng Negosyo Program, providing temporary and targeted economic relief measures during a national energy emergency, authorizing limited and time-bound interventions to reduce transport and logistic costs, providing wage support, MSME financing, tax relief and fee adjustments, and appropriating funds therefore by Representative Valeriano.
To the Committee on Social Services.
House Bill 8827, an act imposing a cap on the value-added tax computation on petroleum products by limiting the gross selling price and total value subject to VAT during a declared national energy emergency, amending for the purpose sections 106 and 107 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended by Representatives Marcoleta and Macasaet.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill 8828, an act recognizing autism spectrum disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and Down syndrome as distinct and separate categories of disabilities, the Department of Health's Philippine Registry for Persons with Disabilities, and appropriating funds therefore by Representative De Lima.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8829, an act creating the National Commission on Disability Affairs, defining its powers, functions, and responsibilities, and appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes by Representative De Lima.
To the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities.
House Bill 8830, an act instituting the Magna Carta for daycare workers and providing funds therefore by Representative Acop.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill 8831, an act institutionalizing the Binhi ng Pag-asa program under the Department of Agriculture, providing funds therefore and for other purposes by Representative Acop.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 8832, an act providing for a Magna Carta of workers in informal economy, institutionalizing mechanisms for implementation thereof and for other purposes by Representative Acop.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8833, an act establishing a life crisis support system program for overseas Filipino workers and their left-behind families by Representative Villanueva.
To the Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, in view of the directive of Speaker Faustino Boji G.D. III to consolidate government action and craft a comprehensive legislative response to the escalating Middle East crisis with a focus on immediate relief, economic stability, and long-term resilience, I move to create the Ad Hoc Committee on Legislative Energy Action and Development with the following jurisdiction: all matters relating to the study, review, monitoring, coordination, as well as the formulation of legislative and policy measures necessary to prevent, mitigate, and respond to the actual or potential effects of crisis affecting energy, oil or supply, transportation, agriculture, food security, and the supply and pricing of basic commodities and essential goods, including the development of immediate response mechanisms, medium-term mitigation measures, and long-term strategies to strengthen national energy security, food security, supply resilience, price stability, economic preparedness, and effective interagency and public-private coordination during actual or emerging national emergencies and disruptions, and to be composed of the following committees: Committee on Ways and Means, Committee on Energy, Committee on Agriculture and Food, Committee on Appropriations, Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources, Committee on Economic Affairs, Committee on Foreign Affairs, Committee on Information and Communications Technology, Committee on Labor and Employment, Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs, Committee on Social Services, Committee on Trade and Industry, and Committee on Transportation. So moved, Madam Speaker.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, in view of the creation of the Ad Hoc Committee on Legislative Energy Action and Development, I move to elect the chairperson of the Committee on Ways and Means as chairperson of the said Ad Hoc Committee, and the chairpersons of the following committees as co-chairpersons thereof: Committee on Energy, Committee on Agriculture and Food, Committee on Appropriations, Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources, Committee on Economic Affairs, Committee on Foreign Affairs, Committee on Information and Communications Technology, Committee on Labor and Employment, Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs, Committee on Social Services, Committee on Trade and Industry, and Committee on Transportation.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move to suspend session for a few minutes.
Session suspended.
Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we proceed with additional reference of business and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of bills and resolutions on first reading as well as communications and committee reports.
There is a motion. There is an objection. Chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to the title of the bills.
Additional reference of business. Bills on first reading. House Bill number 8834, an act establishing the Kalinga Program as a national emergency response framework to mitigate fuel-driven inflation, ensure energy and essential goods supply security, provide targeted and time-bound assistance to vulnerable sectors, grant flexible emergency powers to the President, and for other purposes, by Representatives D. Faustino and Marcos.
Ad hoc Committee on Legislative Energy Action and Development.
House Bill number 8835, an act increasing honorarium and Christmas incentives of barangay officials, including barangay tanods, members of the Luponan Tagapamayapa, among others, and granting other non-monetary benefits, amending for the purpose Section 393 of Republic Act number 7160 as amended, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, by Representative Nazal.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8836, an act amending Batas Pambansa Bilang 33 as amended by Presidential Decree number 1865 to include large-scale ore hoarding, profiteering, cartelization, and other acts of market abuse in the oil industry as forms of economic sabotage, and prescribing stiffer penalties therein and for other purposes, by Representative Degamo.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8837, an act providing for the Magna Carta of Barangay Health Workers, by Representative Roman.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8838, an act temporarily suspending or reducing the imposition of value-added tax on petroleum products, amending for the purpose the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, and for other purposes, by Representative De Viste.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 8839, an act creating the Fuel Regulatory Board and establishing an oil price stabilization fund and strategic petroleum reserve, thereby repealing provisions of Republic Act number 8479, otherwise known as the Downstream Oil Industry Regulation Act of 1998, by Representative Chua.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8840, an act amending Section 24 of Republic Act number 8424, otherwise known as the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997, as amended and for other purposes, by Representative Abalos.
The Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 8841, an act promoting active mobility by establishing and integrating a safe pathways network of bicycle lanes, carefree days, walkways, and slow streets, and providing funds thereof, by Representatives Sendanya, Diokno, Ismula, and Bagao.
To the Committee on Transportation, Committee on Sustainable Development Goals.
House Bill number 8842, an act amending Republic Act number 10586, otherwise known as the Anti-Drunk and Drug Driving Act of 2013, by Representatives Sendanya, Diokno, Ismula, and Bagao.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 8843, an act providing for educational assistance to children and dependents on farmers and fisher folks, providing funds therefore, by Representative Suntay.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food and the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill number 8844, an act expanding the coverage of Telecommuting Act and providing incentives for telecommuting employees, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 111565, otherwise known as the Telecommuting Act, and for other purposes, by Representative Suntay.
The Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 8845, an act preserving the traditional and indigenous sports and games of the Philippines, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Bill number 8846, an act creating the Aklan Piña Conservation and Innovation Center in the municipality of Calibo, Aklan, defining its purposes and providing for its organization, management, programs, and funding, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 8847, an act declaring the Verde Island Passage in the provinces of Batangas, Marinduque, Occidental Mindoro, Oriental Mindoro, and Romblon, a protected area with a category of protected seascape under the National Integrated Protected Area System, to be referred as the Verde Island Passage Protected Seascape, providing for its management and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 8848, an act establishing the Seal of Good Cultural Governance for local government units, providing incentives therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8849, an act mandating the establishment of fisher folk resettlement areas by the Department of Agriculture, Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and local government units, amending for the purpose Section 108 of Republic Act number 8550, otherwise known as the Philippine Fisheries Codes of 1998, as amended by Republic Act number 10654, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill number 8850, an act establishing multidisciplinary research centers regarding women's health and disease prevention and conducting a research program on hormone disruption for other purposes, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
The Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8851, an act promoting the adoption of digital payments for financial transactions of the government and all merchants, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries.
House Bill number 8852, an act creating the Negros Island Region Development Authority, defining its powers and functions, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill number 8853, an act strengthening the conservation and protection of Philippine cultural heritage, amending for the purpose Presidential Decree number 1096, otherwise known as the National Building Code of the Philippines, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 8854, to act further strengthen local autonomy through a more nationalized system of decentralization, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 7160 as amended, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 8855, an act incentivizing investments in petroleum refinery and renewable and green energy projects, providing fiscal and non-fiscal incentives and for other purposes, by Representative Hernandez Chariz Ann.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8856, an act creating the Joint Congressional Commission on Justice System Reform, defining its powers and functions, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 8857, an act instituting a national plan of action for the care, support, and inclusion of persons with autism spectrum disorder and appropriating funds therefore, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8858, an act abolishing the Optical Media Board, repealing Public Act number 9239, the Optical Media Act of 2003, and creating the Digital Media Anti-Piracy Commission, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Information and the Committee on Government Reorganization.
House Bill number 8859, an act amending Republic Act number 10699, or the National Athletes and Coaches Benefits and Incentives Act, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Bill number 8860, an act establishing a more progressive and targeted tax system by increasing income tax exemptions and imposing solidarity wealth tax and windfall profits tax, amending for the purpose National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, by Representative Mendoza.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 8861, an act strengthening the National Agriculture and Fisheries Extension System to accelerate agriculture and fisheries development, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Odocado.
To the Committees on Agriculture and Food and the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill number 8862, an act providing for the Magna Carta of Public Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Workers, promoting for their welfare, security of tenure, professional development, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Legazpi.
To the Committee on Disaster Resilience.
House Bill number 8863, an act amending Article 336 of Act number 3815, otherwise known as the Revised Penal Code, as amended, increasing the penalties for acts of lasciviousness, by Representatives Stan, Keith, Micah, and Montes.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill number 8864, an act regulating the registration, licensing, and utilization of electric two-wheeled and three-wheeled vehicles on major thoroughfares and expressways, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 4136, Republic Act number 11697, and Republic Act number 2000 and for other purposes, by Representative Poe.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 8865, an act providing for a national energy policy and framework for the establishment of an energy subsidy program, by Representative Ako.
The Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8866, an act upgrading the minimum salaries of public school teachers to salary grade 15, teaching personnel in higher education to salary grade 16, and of non-teaching personnel to 16,000 pesos, by Representative Ako.
To the Committee on Appropriation.
House Bill number 8867, an act creating the Environmental Health Administration as attached agency of the Department of Health, defining its powers and functions, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Acop.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8868, an act mandating calorie labeling in restaurants and food establishments to promote healthier and informed food choices and providing penalties for violation thereof, by Representative Espina.
The Committee on Health.
House Bill number 8870, an act imposing a temporary price ceiling of 70 pesos per liter on diesel fuel for a period of 6 months during a global oil crisis, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, by Representative Erice.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Bill number 8871, an act penalizing the malicious publication of false news against a person, by Representative Villanueva.
To the Committee on Public Information and the Committee on Information and Communication Technology.
House Bill number 8872, an act protecting the right of people to freely and safely propagate their religion, guaranteed under Section 5, Article 3 of the 1987 Constitution, by Representative Villanueva.
To the Committee on Human Rights.
House Bill number 8873, an act establishing a School of Medicine in the Bohol Island State University in the city of Tagbilaran, province of Bohol, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Yap Arthur.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 8874, an act establishing a regular campus of the Bohol Island State University in the municipality of Dawis, province of Bohol, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Yap Arthur.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 8875, an act creating Bohol Island State University Tourism and Sports Institute in the municipality of Balilihan, province of Bohol, and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Yap Arthur.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 8877, an act granting Philippine citizenship to Kyung Hee Lee, also known as Grace Lee, by Representative Padienos.
The Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 8878, an act establishing a science high school in Mambalacat City, Pampanga, to be known as the Mambalacat City Science High School and appropriating funds therefore, by Representative Lazatin.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
Resolutions. House Resolution number 894, a resolution respectfully appealing to the Honorable Chairperson and the members of the Committee on Justice to expedite the resolution of the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte, even during recess, to enable the House to concentrate on urgent matters arising from the Middle East crisis, including but not limited to the rising prices of fuel and other petroleum products, increased food prices and other basic commodities, higher transportation costs, retrenchment, and wage disparities, by Representative Tiangco.
The Committee on Justice.
House Resolution number 899, resolution directing the Committee on Indigenous Cultural Communities and Indigenous Peoples to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples mandate to conduct effective and genuine consultation with Indigenous peoples before revising the 2012 Free, Prior, and Informed Consent Guidelines, by Representatives Ismula, Diokno, Sendanya, and Bagao.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 900, resolution directing the Committees on Women and Gender Equality, Information and Communications Technology, Welfare of Children, and Public Order and Safety to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the continuing proliferation of online sexual abuse or exploitation of children and child sexual abuse or exploitation materials, and into digital sexual exploitation and other forms of technology-facilitated gender-based violence affecting women and girls, with the end view of strengthening legal, institutional, and technological safeguards against such acts, by Representatives Matibag, Lagman, and Zamora Isabel Maria.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 901, resolution urging the Government Service Insurance System, the Home Development Mutual Fund, the Land Bank of the Philippines, and the Development Bank of the Philippines to implement a 3-month moratorium on the payment of loan amortizations for all government employees to mitigate the severe economic impact of the Middle East crisis and surging domestic fuel prices, by Representatives Bagao, Diokno, Sendanya, and Ismula.
The Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Resolution number 902, resolution urging the executive through the Department of Foreign Affairs to actively engage the negotiations for a legally binding instrument under the United Nations Human Rights Council to regulate transnational corporations with respect to human rights, by Representatives Ismula, Diokno, Sendanya, and Bagao.
To the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
House Resolution number 904, resolution urging the Department of Social Welfare and Development, Department of the Interior and Local Government, Department of Agriculture, and other relevant agencies to expand the Walang Gutom program to include indigent mothers and strengthen the enhanced partnership against hunger to support small market vendors amid the price volatility arising from the U.S.-Iran conflict. By Representatives Ismula, Diokno, Sendanya, and Bagao.
To the Committee on Social Services.
House Resolution 907, a resolution urging the temporary suspension of airport and seaport fees and charges amid rising global fuel prices to mitigate travel and cargo shipping costs, support tourism, and protect jobs and livelihoods. By Representative Tutor.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Resolution 908, a resolution urging the Commission on Elections to study, develop, and pilot a hybrid election system that combines traditional in-person voting and computer-assisted manual counting in selected barangays in the upcoming November 2026 Barangay SK elections to determine its effective use in future Philippine elections. By Representative Macapagal Arroyo.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Resolution number 909, a resolution calling for the immediate cessation of hostilities, the pursuit of peaceful dialogue, and the protection of civilians and amid escalating military aggression in Iran, and expressing concern over the global economic impacts of war, including escalating oil prices. By Representatives Co, Tino, Elago, Balindong, Emano, Hernandez Ferdinand, Defensor, Libanan, Erice, Oreta, Galang, Violago, Cruz, Agatha, Plato, Gonzales, Alisa, Micaela, Angeles, Marquez, Miraflores, Sagarbaria, Degamo, Daza, Mercado, Labad-Labad, Amatong, Bangkoro, Ofarasim, Dimaporo, City Amina, Lagbas, Uy de Carlo, Lagdameo, Jose Manuel, Dayang Hirang, Lumayag, Tuwan, Sakaluran, Swansing, Bella Vanessa, Alano, Adyong, Mangudadato, Odocado, Montes, Chan, Jan, Franz Norito, Pasilito, Garbin, Dagook, Nazal, Ridon, San Fernando, De Lima, Legazpi, Nisay, and Bautista, Johan Monich.
The Committee on Foreign Affairs.
House Resolution number 910, a resolution directing the appropriate House Committee to conduct an investigation in aid of legislation on the death of Mark Kenneth Alcedo through hazing, with the end view of strengthening the provisions of Republic Act number 8049 as amended by Republic Act number 11053, also known as Anti-Hazing Act of 2018. By Representative Teves.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 911, a resolution respectfully urging the Office of the President to generate savings from the 22.9 billion budget for the Philippine hosting of the 2026 ASEAN Summit and related meetings, and to use such savings for aid programs in response to increased oil prices. By Representative Leviste.
The Committee on Appropriations.
House Resolution number 912, resolution urging the Executive Department and all other appropriate government agencies to provide full, adequate, prompt, and effective preparations to the Malaya Lolas in compliance with the Philippines' obligations under the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and the views adopted by the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women on 8 March 2023 by Representative De Lima.
The Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Resolution number 913, resolution urging the Department of the Interior and Local Government, the Department of Transportation, and the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to study, strengthen, and expand the implementation of the Public Transport Service Contracting Program as a measure to mitigate the impact of rising fuel costs and ensure sustainable public transportation operations. By Representative De Lima.
The Committee on Transportation.
House Resolution number 914, resolution directing the House Committee on Energy and other appropriate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the extraordinary surge in diesel prices in the Philippines, with the end view of determining why the country has emerged as among the worst affected by the current global oil shock, examining whether existing laws and regulatory mechanisms remain adequate to protect consumers and the national economy, and recommending legislative measures to address price vulnerability, possible profiteering, and structural deficiencies in the downstream oil industry. By Representative De Lima.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 915, resolution urging President Ferdinand Bongbong R. Marcos Jr., the Department of Transportation, and the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to assess and address the impacts of rising fuel prices on public transport drivers, operators, and workers, and subject to a balancing with the interest of the riding public to implement the necessary and reasonable fare hike. By Representative De Lima.
The Committee on Transportation.
House Resolution number 916, resolution commending and congratulating Police Cadet Van Marie Editha Gondaya Cagasan of Baybay City, Leyte for graduating as ranked number 1 of the Philippine National Police Academy Silang Paglaom Class of 2026, and for exemplifying extraordinary academic excellence, personal courage, and unwavering devotion to family and country. By Representative Kari.
The Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Resolution Number 917, a resolution calling for the immediate escalation and cessation of hostilities in the Middle East, including among Iran, Israel, and the United States, emphasizing the protection of Philippine national interests and expressing grave concern over the adverse impacts of the conflict on the Filipino people and the national economy, by Representative Hernandez Chariz Ann.
To the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
House Resolution Number 918, a resolution urging the immediate implementation of emergency relief measures, including fuel vouchers, subsidies, and targeted assistance for vulnerable sectors adversely affected by the energy emergency and rising fuel prices, and directing relevant government agencies to ensure timely and efficient delivery thereof, by Representative Hernandez Chariz Ann.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Resolution Number 919, a resolution urging the Department of Energy, the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, the Energy Regulatory Commission, and other concerned agencies to intensify support for renewable energy sources, including solar and geothermal energy, as an immediate response to the current energy emergency in the Philippines and rising fuel prices globally, by Representative Hernandez Chariz Ann.
To the Committee on Energy.
House Resolution Number 920, resolution directing the House of Representatives through the Committee on Basic Education and Culture to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the working conditions and safety of public school teachers assigned in base schools and other schools in geographically challenging areas, with the end view of institutionalizing the grant of transportation allowance, hazard pay, special hardship allowance, life and accident insurance coverage, and adequate safety protection to all public school teachers and personnel assigned in such areas, by Representatives Tino, Elago, and Co.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 921, resolution urging the House of Representatives to conduct an investigation in aid of legislation into the non-utilization of the Legal Defense Fund to protect public school teachers and education support personnel against legal cases in the performance of their official functions and duties, by Representatives Tino, Elago, and Co.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 922, resolution directing the House of Representatives to call for the abrogation of the landing party agreement between the Department of Information and Communications Technology, the Basis Conversion and Development Authority, and EDGE, and to scrap the plan to build the national broadband network using the Luzon bypass infrastructure in light of the issues on national sovereignty and threats to the data privacy and security of the Filipino people, by Representatives Tino, Elago, and Co.
The Committee on Information and Communication Technology.
House Resolution Number 923, a resolution urging the Energy Regulatory Commission to exercise strict oversight over electricity pricing, expedite the resolution of all pending petitions for refunds and rebates, ensure the implementation of ordered refunds, and recommend urging measures to mitigate electricity costs during the summer months, by Representative Garbin.
Committee on Energy.
House Resolution Number 924, resolution directing the Committee on Health to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the implementation of the Philippine Strategic Tuberculosis Elimination Plan Phase 2, 2025 to 2030, along with the Philippine Acceleration Action Plans for Tuberculosis 2023 to 2035, with the end view of ensuring the country's commitment to the United Nations high-level meetings on TB and the Sustainable Development Goals, by Representative Montes.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 925, resolution directing the Committee on Health to conduct an investigation in aid of legislation on the perennial issue of overstock, unused, and expired drugs, medicines, and medical supplies by the Department of Health, with the objective of reviewing the existing measures in the procurement of drugs, medicines, and medical supplies in the country, instituting reforms, and protecting and promoting the right to health of the Filipinos, by Representative Montes.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 926, resolution commending and congratulating Giselle Mark Magnifico Araula Magsayo for his spectacular technical knockout victory over Fergal McCrory at the SUFA Boxing 05 event held on April 5, 2026 in Las Vegas, Nevada, by Representative Yap John G. Snell.
The Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution Number 927, resolution directing the House Committee on Natural Resources to conduct an investigation in aid of legislation into the reported environmental, health, and socioeconomic impacts of mining operations in the municipality of Aroroy, Masbate, with the end view of strengthening regulatory oversight, ensuring corporate accountability, and safeguarding the welfare of affected families, by Representative De Lima.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 928, a resolution urging the Energy Regulatory Commission to expedite the resolution and implementation of pending power rebates and refunds, and urging the national government to consider temporary reductions in the value-added tax on electricity and import tariffs on bunker fuel used for power generation in order to mitigate the impact of rising energy costs in Filipino consumers. By Representative Tutor.
Committee on Energy.
House Resolution Number 929, resolution congratulating Police Lieutenant Tricia Ray Libiran Ahose, a constituent of the 5th Legislative District of Bulacan, for her exemplary academic performance and for graduating as top 9 of the Philippine National Police Academy Silang Paglaom Class of 2026. By Representative Cruz Agata.
The Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Resolution Number 930, resolution commending and congratulating the Pinoy P-pop girl group Beanie for making history as the first Filipino pop group to perform at the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival 2026 and recognizing their contribution to the global promotion of Filipino talent and culture. By Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
To the Special Committee on Creative Industries.
House Resolution Number 931, resolution congratulating and commending Patrick Gerard Lee for winning the bronze medal in the men's C5 scratch race at the Asian Para-Track Cycling Championships and recognizing his contribution to Philippine sports. By Representative Villanueva.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution Number 932, a resolution urging the Energy Regulatory Commission to order the temporary suspension of electricity disconnections for households with unpaid bills during the national state of energy emergency and encouraging public utilities to provide flexible or installment payment arrangements for affected consumers. By Representative Hernandez Chariz Ann.
Committee on Energy.
House Resolution 933, a resolution commending Engineer Rico Quiñones Elao of the Cebu Technological University, Main Dumanhug Extension Campus for ranking first nationwide in the 2026 Civil Engineering Licensure Examination. By Representative Calderon.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Resolution 934, a resolution congratulating the Filipino P-pop girl group Beanie and Sofia La Forteza of the global girl group Cat's Eye for their historic performances at the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival 2026 and for bringing honor and distinction to the Philippines. By Representative Del Mar.
The Special Committee on Creative Industries.
House Resolution 935, a resolution congratulating and commending Mariel Monteliano and Bisdak J.M. de la Serna for winning a historic back-to-back championship on Your Face Sounds Familiar 2026 and in Tawag ng Tanghalan Duet Season 1. By Representative Del Mar.
The Special Committee on Creative Industries.
House Resolution 936, a resolution urging the Commission on Elections to postpone the conduct of the 2026 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections throughout the entire country due to the current fuel price crisis pursuant to Section 5 of Batas Pambansa Bilang 881, otherwise known as the Omnibus Election Code of the Philippines. By Representative Ferrer Jeffrey.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Resolution 937, a resolution directing the appropriate committees of the House of Representatives to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the reported expiration, non-utilization, and non-distribution of approximately 1.5 billion peso worth of medicines and vaccines under the Department of Health. By Representative Ordanes.
The Committee on Rules.
House Joint Resolution Number 6, joint resolution urging the Speaker of the House of Representatives to nominate the Joint Congressional Community-Based Monitoring System Oversight Committee, providing funds therefore and for other purposes. By Representatives Macapagal Arroyo, Abalos, Lebanon, Escudero, Pumaren, Yatco, Galeos, Yap Eric, Gloria, Angeles Tan Iman, Plato, Swansing, Belavanesa, Panotes, Labad-Labad, Bondoc, Espina, Aumentado, Corvera, Swansing, Micaela Angela, Guriseta, Tupas, Magkasait, Odocado, Co, Marcoleta, and Elago.
Committee on Rules.
Messages from the Senate. Message dated March 18, 2026, informing the House of Representatives that on March 17, 2026, the Senate designated Senators Pam Aquino, Winty Gatchalian, and Joel Villanueva as members of the Conference Committee to reconcile the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill Number 1937, titled An Act Institutionalizing Support for Public Basic Education Schools in Geographically Isolated and Disadvantaged Areas and Appropriating Funds Therefore, and House Bill Number 4745, An Act Institutionalizing the Public Basic Education Schools in Geographically Isolated and Disadvantaged and Conflict-Affected Areas, providing access roads leading to last-mile schools and appropriating funds therefore.
Committee on Rules.
Message dated March 18, 2026, informing the House of Representatives that on March 17, 2026, the Senate designated Senators Pia Cayetano, Winty Gatchalian, and Joel Villanueva as members of the Conference Committee to reconcile the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 1982, titled An Act Authorizing the President to Suspend or Reduce Excise Tax on Petroleum Products, amending for the purpose Section 148 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, and House Bill number 8418, an act authorizing the President of the Philippines to suspend or reduce the excise taxes on petroleum products during national or global economic emergencies, amending for the purpose the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended.
Committee on Rules.
Message dated March 18, 2026, informing the House of Representatives that on March 17, 2026, the Senate designated Senators Pam Aquino, Winty Gatchalian, and Joel Villanueva as members of the Conference Committee to reconcile the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 1899 and House Bill number 5939, an act allowing the Department of Education the flexibility to determine the pedagogical approaches to be implemented in the basic education curriculum, amending for the purpose Section 5 of Republic Act number 10533, or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013.
Committee on Rules.
Message dated March 18, 2026, informing the House of Representatives that on March 17, 2026, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 1823 and House Bill number 8220, titled An Act Resetting the First Regular Elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao, amending for the purpose Section 13, Article 16 of Republic Act number 11054 as amended, otherwise known as the Organic Law for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao.
Committee on Rules.
Message dated April 16, 2026, informing the House of Representatives that on March 18, 2026, the Senate adopted House Concurrent Resolution number 12 as an amendment to Senate Concurrent Resolution number 8, titled Concurrent Resolution Adopting National Education and Workforce Development Plan 2026 to 2035 and recommendations of the Second Congressional Commission on Education as the 10-year policy framework of the national government.
Committee on Rules.
Communications, letters dated March 13, 16, 17, 19, 25, 30, and 31, 2026 of Joseph B. Salud, Bank Officer 6, Office of the General Counsel and Legal Services, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, transmitting to the House of Representatives duly certified copies of several BSP issuances.
Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries.
Letter dated March 30, 2026 of Honorable Ralph G. Recto, Acting Executive Secretary, Office of the President, transmitting to the House of Representatives a certified true copy of the Petroleum Service Contract number 89 between the Republic of the Philippines and Texcal Energy Mahato Inc. pursuant to Section 2, Article 12 of the Constitution.
Committee on Energy.
Letter dated March 30, 2026 of Honorable Ralph G. Recto, Acting Executive Secretary, Office of the President, transmitting to the House of Representatives a certified true copy of the Petroleum Service Contract number 90 between the Republic of the Philippines and Matahio Energy Philippines Limited pursuant to Section 2, Article 12 of the Constitution.
Committee on Energy.
Letter dated March 25, 2026 of the Honorable Ralph G. Recto, Acting Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting to original copies each of the following Republic Acts which were signed by President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., RA number 12316, titled Authorizing the President to Suspend or Reduce Excise Tax on Petroleum Products, amending Section 148 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, and RA number 12317, resetting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao.
To the archives.
Report dated March 24, 2026 of Honorable Attorney Chelo E. Velicari Garofil, Secretary General, House of Representatives, on copies of the following enrolled bills which were returned to the Senate on even date and to be transmitted to the Office of the President for His Excellency's consideration and signature pursuant to Section 18H, Rule 6 of the Provisional Rules of the House of Representatives. Senate Bill number 1982 and House Bill number 8418, authorizing the President to suspend or reduce excise tax on petroleum products, amending for the purpose Section 148 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997. And consolidated version of Senate Bill number 1823 and House Bill number 8220, resetting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao. Subpoena duces tecum, pursuant to Section 153, Rule 24 of the Provisional Rules of the House of Representatives, transmitting the subpoena duces tecum and issued by the Office of the Ombudsman for the following: FF-C-NOV 20-25-0305, dated March 12, 2026, FF-C-JAN-26-0005, dated March 12, 2026, FF-C-JAN-26-0026, dated March 25, 2026, FF-C-JAN-26-0050, dated March 17, 2026, FF-C-JAN-26-0051, dated March 17, 2026, FF-C-JAN-26-0057, FF-C-JAN-26-0058, and FF-C-JAN-26-0063, dated March 31, 2026, FF-C-JAN-26-0072, dated March 13, 2026, and OMB-C-C-Feb-26-0019, and OMB-C-A-Feb-26-0021, dated March 13, 2026. Pursuant to Section 155 and 156, Rule 24 of the Provisional Rules of the House of Representatives, transmitting the subpoena duces tecum dated March 25, 2026, and issued by the Office of the Ombudsman for the statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth of members pursuant to Section 155 and 156, Rule 24 of the Provisional Rules of the House of Representatives, transmitting the subpoena duces tecum dated March 25, 2026, and April 8, 2026, issued by the Office of the Ombudsman. Committee reports. Committee report number 230, submitted by the Committee on Public Order and Safety on House Resolution number 903.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 231, submitted by the Committee on Indigenous Cultural Communities and Indigenous Peoples on House Bill number 8699.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 232, submitted by the Committee on Indigenous Cultural Communities and Indigenous Peoples on House Bill number 8700.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 233, submitted by the Committee on Public Order and Safety on House Bill number 8702.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 234, submitted by the Committee on Poverty Alleviation, House Resolutions number 370 and Privileged Speech number 33.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 235, submitted by the Special Committee on Southern Tagalog Development and House Resolution number 906.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 236, submitted by the Special Committee on Southern Tagalog Development and House Resolution number 826.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 237, submitted by the Committee on Transportation and the Committee on Appropriations and House Bill number 8722.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 238, submitted by the Committee on Transportation and the Committee on Appropriations and House Bill number 8723.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 239, submitted by the Committee on Transportation and the Committee on Appropriations and House Bill number 8724.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 240, submitted by the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation on House Bill number 8869.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 241, submitted by the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation on House Bill number 8876.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 242, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development and House Resolution number 952.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 243, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development and House Resolution number 956.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 244, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development and House Resolution number 957.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 245, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development and House Resolution number 958.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 246, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development and House Resolution number 959.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 247, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development and House Resolution number 960.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 248, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development and House Resolution number 963.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 249, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development and House Resolution number 964.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 250, submitted by the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization, House Bill number 763.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 251, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises and House Bill number 9000.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 252, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises and House Bill number 9001.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 253, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises and House Bill number 9002.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 254, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises and House Bill number 9003.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 255, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises and House Bill number 9004.
Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 256, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises and House Bill number 9005.
No Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 257, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises and House Bill number 9010.
No Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 258, submitted by the Committee on Labor and Employment regarding House Resolutions number 326, 370, and 491.
No Committee on Rules.
Additional reference of business. Resolutions. House Resolution number 938, resolution expressing the profound condolences of the House of Representatives on the passing of the Honorable Salvador Body Britannico, former representative, assemblyman, and distinguished statesman, to his spouse, Dr. Mayalita Linda Britannico, and their children, by Representative Baronda.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 939, resolution urging the Department of Foreign Affairs to invite the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the promotion and protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms while countering terrorism in aid of legislation in light of reported abuse and misuse of counterterrorism and terrorism financing laws, by Representative De Lima.
Committee on Foreign Affairs.
House Resolution number 940, a resolution expressing the deepest condolences of and heartfelt sympathy of the House of Representatives on the demise of award-winning Filipina actress Sue M. Prado and honoring her life, artistic legacy, and extraordinary contributions to the Philippine independent cinema by Representative Olivares.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 941, a resolution expressing the deepest sympathy and sincere condolences of the House of Representatives on the passing of Ms. Lucille Jean Olasman Jershovich by Representative Olivares.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 942, resolution commending and congratulating Linda P. Johnson for being sworn as the first Filipina mayor of Cerritos, California, USA by Representative Olivares.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 943, resolution commending and congratulating Filipino boxer Pedro Taduran for his successful defense of his IBF minimum weight world title against Mexican contender Gustavo Perez by Representative Olivares.
The Committee on Games and Amusement.
House Resolution Number 944, a resolution expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the House of Representatives on the demise of Sister Eva Fidela Maamo, Ramon Magsaysay awardee, and honoring her life of selfless service to the Filipino people by Representative Olivares.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 945, resolution urging the Philippine Sports Commission to adopt and implement an expedited disbursement mechanism for national sports associations to ensure the timely release of approved funds for athletes participating in international competitions and related activities by Representative Gomez.
The Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution Number 946, a resolution directing the Committee on Energy of the House of Representatives to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the rules and regulations issued by the Department of Energy and the Energy Regulatory Commission governing rooftop solar power and net metering with the end in view of ensuring affordable, accessible, and sustainable energy for consumers by Representative Yap Arthur.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 947, resolution expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the House of Representatives on the demise of Congressman Leopoldo Encinas San Benaventura of the 2nd District Province of Camarines Sur during the 10th Congress by Representative Olivares.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 948, resolution commending and congratulating Dr. Erwin Ken Angcual Parachaso for his historic feat of obtaining the highest score in the March 2026 Physician Licensure Examination by Representative Yap Eric.
The Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Resolution Number 949, a resolution expressing profound sympathy and sincere condolences on the passing of former Assemblyman and veteran statesman Salvador Body Britannico and honoring his invaluable contributions to Philippine governance, law, and education by Representative Ang.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 950, resolution urging the House Committee on Housing and Urban Development to conduct an investigation in aid of legislation into the reported unauthorized sale, transfer, and disposition of NHA-awarded housing units in violation of Section 14 of Republic Act Number 7279, otherwise known as the Urban Development and Housing Act of 1992, and requesting the National Housing Authority to strengthen enforcement and report on such cases by Representative Poe.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 951, resolution commending and congratulating Sofia La Forteza, a Filipino performer and leader of the global girl group Cat's Eye, for her historic performance at the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival 2026, and for exemplifying Filipino excellence in the global music industry by Representative Benitez Javier Miguel.
The Special Committee on Creative Industries.
House Resolution Number 953, resolution congratulating the Department of Transportation, headed by Acting Secretary Giovanni Zay Lopez, and the right-of-way and site acquisition headed by Assistant Secretary Irish Calaguas for the accelerated right-of-way acquisition of the Clark-Malolos Corridor for North-South Commuter Railway Extension Project and Metro Manila Subway Project by Representative Lazatin.
Committee on Transportation.
House Resolution Number 954, resolution directing all national government agencies, attached offices and bureaus, and local government units to impose a moratorium on all demolition and eviction of residential structures amid the state of national energy emergency by Representatives Elago, Co, and Tino.
The Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Resolution Number 955, a resolution respectfully urging the Office of the President to investigate reports of discrimination and corruption in Bawat Barangay Makikinabang, Bawat Bayan Makikinabang, and other aid programs, and to ensure the transparent, equitable, and efficient release of funds to local government units by Representative Leviste.
The Committee on Local Government.
House Resolution Number 961, resolution directing the appropriate committees of the House of Representatives to conduct an immediate, thorough, and impartial inquiry in aid of legislation into the circumstances surrounding the April 19, 2026 armed encounter in Barangay Salamanca, Tabosa, Negros Occidental, which resulted in the deaths of 19 individuals, with the end in view of determining accountability, assessing compliance with rules of engagement, addressing the impact on affected communities, and recommending legislative measures to strengthen the protection of civilians and uphold human rights in the conduct of internal security operations by Representative De Lima.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 962, a resolution directing the House Committee on Human Rights to urgently conduct an investigation in aid of legislation on the massacre of unarmed civilians allegedly perpetrated by the 79th Infantry Battalion of the Armed Forces of the Philippines in Toboso, Negros Occidental, which constitutes a violation of human rights and international humanitarian law, by Representatives Co, Tino, and Alago.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 965, resolution directing the appropriate committee of the House of Representatives to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the pass-through charges imposed on electricity consumers with the end in view of ensuring transparency, accountability, and the rationalization of such charges, by Representative Yap Arthur.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 966, resolution urging the Committee on Housing and Urban Development to conduct an investigation in aid of legislation into the reported demolition, forcible displacement, and/or threats of displacement in particular areas in Los Baños, Laguna, by Representatives Elago, Co, and Tino.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 967, resolution directing the House Committee on Agriculture and Food to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the imminent impact of the forecasted 2026-2027 El Nino event in the Philippine agricultural sector in pursuit of assessing the current state of preparedness of Philippine agricultural producers to absorb the effects of El Nino and other similar climate events, and in pursuit of the immediate formulation, adoption, and implementation of anticipatory, evidence-based, and mitigation and adaptation strategies, by Representatives Swansing Bella Vanessa.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 968, a resolution directing the appropriate committee of the House of Representatives to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the armed encounter in Barangay Salamanca, Municipality of Toboso, Negros Occidental, on April 19, 2026, by Representative Benitez Xavier Miguel.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 969, resolution directing the appropriate committee of the House of Representatives to conduct an investigation in aid of legislation into the widespread offloading of Filipino passengers at international ports of exit, with the end in view of strengthening safeguards against abuse, ensuring accountability, and protecting the rights and welfare of the travelers, by Representative Villanueva.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 970, resolution urging the House Committee on Transportation to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the reported flight emergency diversion incident involving Dumaguete to Manila PAL Express Flight PR2544 to Iloilo International Airport, and the apparent gaps in airline and aviation emergency protocols, passenger safety measures, and airport readiness, by Representative Bangcoro.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 971, resolution directing the Committee on Science and Technology and other appropriate committees of the House of Representatives to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the national preparedness for risk associated with artificial intelligence, including systemic, economic, health, security, and catastrophic risk, with the end in view of developing a comprehensive national framework for AI risk governance, by Representative Villanueva.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution Number 972, resolution urging the House Committee on Justice, the House Committee on Social Services, or other appropriate committees of the House of Representatives to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the alleged discrimination and politicization in the distribution of assistance under the Bawat Bayan Makikinabang and Bawat Barangay Makikinabang programs, as well as possible violations of existing anti-EPA policies and the implementation of government assistance programs, by Representative Leviste.
Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, may we recognize the guests of the Honorable Sarah Jane Ilago of Party List Gabriela. They are the workers from the Kowloon House West Chapter Glow Rain KMU in the plenary, namely Reginald San Martin, Tori John Ancheta, Jessa Montesa, Weller Rose Tejada, Sami Bacolor, Primitivo Lapore, Marlen Lazaro, Victoria Mirando, Francis Licuanan, John Michael Carlos, and Bernard Dimaunahan.
To the guest of Representative Sara El Lago, representatives and workers from Kowloon House West Chapter, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to our rules, today being a Monday, I move to open the privilege hour.
There is a motion to open the privilege hour. There is an objection. Here is none. Motion is carried. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize the gentleman from Party List APEC, the Honorable Sergio C. Dagook, to avail of the privilege hour.
There is an objection. Here is none. The Honorable Dagook is hereby recognized. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. As representative in the power sector, I rise today on a matter of collective privilege. For the past few months, we have seen the same cycle of unpredictable generation cost spike, spiraling fuel pass-through cost, the charge upon charge, and the inevitable shock when Filipino families receive their monthly electric bills. Mr. Speaker, in a heavily regulated industry such as the energy sector, we have the unique ability to give technical explanations for every movement in the prices of electricity. But beyond this, there is a more painful reality. For the ordinary Filipino, the cost of power is no longer justifiable, no matter how true and sophisticated the explanation is. The cost of electricity is now a direct threat for food security, tax on small businesses, and a barrier to our national productivity. Mr. Speaker, we often hear that our electricity rates are among the highest in Southeast Asia. We are told it is the nature of the beast because we are an archipelago reliant on imported fuel. While those may be true, they have become convenient excuses for systemic inefficiency and the lack of urgency to address the matter. Mr. Speaker, the public is asking two important questions. One, bakit ganito kamahal ang ating kuryente? At pangalawa, ano ang ginagawa ng gobyerno natin? To answer them, we have to look beyond the surface of the bill. The answer must go into the very architecture of our energy sector. First, the unbundled charges. This is done by virtue of Republic Act 9136 or the Electric Power Industry Reform Act of 2001. The charges we see on our monthly statements are unbundled. Ibig sabihin po nito, Mr. Speaker, makikita ng mga consumers kung magkano ba talaga ang kinukulikta ng bawat sektor bago makarating ang kuryente sa ating mga bahay. The final amount on our monthly bill is a collection of generation, transmission, and distribution topped with several universal charges and variety of taxes. I would like to emphasize, Mr. Speaker, variety of taxes. Let's go through them one by one. We know that the generation charge account for over half of the bill. Mahigit po sa kalahati ng ating binabayaran ay pumupunta po sa planta. Currently, the regulatory landscape allow an automatic fuel cost pass-through mechanism in our power supply agreement. This means that when the price of coal or gas spikes in the global market, the risk is shifted entirely to the consumer. Why is the Filipino household the final shock absorber for global market volatility? We must review this contract to ensure that risk is shared, not just passed on. Next is the transmission and ancillary charges. All consumers pay to the stability of the grid infrastructure and its operation. But Mr. Speaker, when there are delayed vital transmission projects, the resulting congestion costs find their way into our bills. Ito pong pangyayaring ito ay paulit-ulit na nangyayari sa Region 7, Region 6, at Region 8. The public should not be penalized for these inefficiencies. Inefficiencies should not be subsidized by Filipino people who are burdened by the same situation. Now, Mr. Speaker, let's talk about taxes. The electric power industry is among those industries with multiple charges and taxes levied on the consumers. Initially, Home EPIRA was enacted in 2001, the sale of power generation is value-added tax zero. Wala po sanang tax, Mr. Speaker, yung generation charge sa original version ng EPIRA. That's Section 6 of EPIRA. At the same time, this was a substantial relief to our consumers. Bumababa na sana ang ating generation charge kung hindi nagbago yung probisyon ng EPIRA na wala siyang buhis. Kasi sa sinasabi ko, mahigit sa kalahati ng ating binabayaran ay generation charge. However, Mr. Speaker, with the passage of the expanded value-added tax law, Republic Act 9337 allows VAT to be imposed on entire electricity supply chain, including generation, distribution, and transmission. We are one of the few nations that imposes a 12% VAT across the entire energy chain. We tax the fuel, we tax the generation, we tax the transmission, we tax the distribution. Worse, VAT is also levied on systems loss on electricity. Hindi mo na nga nagamit dahil losses, may VAT pa. Not even consumed by the public. It is not even consumed by every Filipino who paid for it. We are essentially taxing the Filipino for electricity that was wasted or never even reached their home. With held multiple discussions with the concerned government agencies to address this. Pangatlong termino ko na po dito. Dalawang termino ko, paulit-ulit kong pinail ang resolusyon at House Bill para mapag-usapan. Pero hindi po nakakita ng sikat ng araw ang mga panukalang batas na yon, na napaka-importante naman sana. Pero tuwing may crisis at lumulubo ang binabayaran natin sa kuryente, saka lang pinag-usapan. Pag bumaba na, hindi na naman pinag-usapan. Mr. Speaker, the way out is straightforward and within the control of our government through the industry regulator. A simple reformatting of our electricity bill that will exclude certain items from the gross receipts of the bill, like VAT on systems loss and lifeline rate, for instance, is a tax that should have been removed. Kasi, ang sabi lang naman ng BIR, during those discussions in the 18th at 19th Congress, kaya lang laman nila tinatax yung systems loss dahil sa format ng ating electric bill, nakapaloob siya sa gross receipts. At dahil ang probisyon ng ating National Internal Revenue Code ay lahat ng gross receipts items ay taxable, kaya nagkaroon ng VAT, pati yung kuryente na hindi natin ginagamit. Kaya, the simple reformatting, ilabas sa gross receipts yung mga bagay na yan, ay mawala na sana yung tax. Even yung lifeline na binabayad natin doon sa mga benefits sa lifeline customer, senior citizen, ang nagbabayad niyan ay yung mga hindi availer. Pero yung kanilang bayad, sila na nga ang sumalo sa sana punduhan ng gobyerno yung mga benefits na yan, tinatax pa sila doon sa kanilang dinodonate para magkaroon ng discount ang senior citizen at yung mga lifeline customers. A simple reformatting, I would emphasize and reiterate, this is only a simple reformatting of our electric bill format. Removing the imposition of VAT on these charges will bring immediate relief of our consumers without the need of legislation. Yet, we haven't heard any actions from the concerned offices who can bring about the solution. How can we explain this to the public, Mr. Speaker? In fact, Mr. Speaker, we also have an almost 50 years old law